Have you ever noticed how a woman can completely change her behavior when jealousy awakens in her? Neil Strauss discovered that female jealousy follows patterns so specific that if you know them, you can predict exactly what she'll do to you. And no, we're not talking about manipulation. We're talking about understanding human psychology to create deeper and more authentic connections. Over the next few minutes, you're going to discover 5 behaviors that every woman exhibits when she's jealous, and more importantly, how to respond in a way that strengthens attraction instead of destroying it. Because here's the truth, nobody tells you. Jealousy isn't the enemy of seduction, it's the fuel. Imagine being able to read the signs before the drama explodes. Imagine transforming that jealous energy into genuine passion. Imagine never again being caught off guard when she starts acting strange. That's exactly what you're going to achieve today. The first thing a jealous woman will do to you is start testing your loyalty in seemingly casual ways. Neil Strauss called it the emotional radar, and it works like this. She'll throw small tests to measure how committed you really are to her. But here's the fascinating part. These tests aren't obvious. She's not going to directly ask if you're cheating on her. Instead, she'll casually mention other women to see your reaction. She'll say something like, "I saw you liked Maria's photo," and watch every micro-expression on your face. Or she'll make seemingly innocent comments about your ex while studying whether your energy changes. Why does she do this? Because jealousy activates the primitive brain center, the part that seeks emotional survival. She needs to know if you're a threat to her emotional security, and these small tests give her the information she needs. Here's a perfect example. You're with her watching a movie and an attractive actress appears on screen. If she's in jealous mode, she won't say, "Do you think she's pretty?" Instead, she'll make a comment like, "She looks so fake," while watching you from the corner of her eye. She's measuring whether you defend the actress, ignore her, or change the subject. Each response tells her something different about where your thoughts are. The mistake most men make is getting defensive. They think they need to prove their innocence by explaining every detail. But this is exactly the opposite of what you should do. When you get defensive, you confirm her suspicions that something is going on. The correct response is to maintain your centered energy and respond with disarming humor. If she says, "I saw you liked Maria's photo," you can respond with something like, "Yeah, I also liked your dog's photo. Should I be worried about that too?" This shows you have nothing to hide and that her tests don't affect you emotionally. Practice this exercise. Next time you feel someone is testing you, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what does this person need to hear to feel secure? It's not about giving them the reason. It's about understanding the emotion behind the test. And here comes something that will surprise you. When you pass these tests with elegance, something powerful happens. Her respect for you increases exponentially because you've shown her that you're emotionally stable under pressure, and that's incredibly attractive to any woman. Now, the second thing a jealous woman will do is start competing for your attention in ways that might seem completely disconnected from jealousy. Neil Strauss observed that women have a unique way of competing. They don't directly attack the competition. Instead, they become more intense with you. This manifests in fascinating ways. Suddenly, she wants to see you more often. She sends you more messages. She dresses better when she's with you. She might even become more physically affectionate or more adventurous in intimacy. None of this is coincidental. It's her primitive instinct telling her she needs to reclaim her territory. But here's the crucial detail most men don't understand. This competitive behavior isn't a conscious strategy. It's automatic. It's as if her reptilian brain takes control and says, "I need to make sure I'm the most attractive option available." A classic example is when she starts making elaborate plans with you. If before you were fine watching Netflix at home, now she wants to go to that specific restaurant you posted on Instagram. If she didn't care about your social circle before, now she wants to meet all your friends. She's not trying to control you. She's trying to expand her presence in your life. Have you noticed how some women suddenly become super interested in your hobbies when they feel competition? If you play guitar and she'd never cared before, now she wants you to teach her. If you play soccer with friends, now she wants to come watch you play. She's building deeper connections with you because she subconsciously knows that deep connections create emotional loyalty. The mistake many men make is interpreting this as possessive behavior and resisting it. But if you understand what's really happening, you can use this energy to create a genuinely stronger connection. The key is to appreciate her effort without rewarding her excessively. If she dresses especially well to see you, acknowledge it. You look incredible. But don't act like it's mandatory or like you were expecting it. If she wants to spend more time with you, enjoy it, but maintain your own life and your own plans. Here's a powerful exercise. When you notice someone is competing for your attention, ask yourself, how can I honor this effort in a way that strengthens our connection? It's not about feeding their insecurity. It's about recognizing that when someone competes for you, it's because they value something in you. And remember this, a woman who competes for your attention is a woman who finds you valuable. That's not something you should fear or suppress. It's something you should navigate with wisdom and genuine appreciation. If you've made it this far, give this video a like and subscribe, because what's coming next will completely change your perspective on how women process jealousy. The third thing a jealous woman will do is become hyper-analytical about your behavior and communication patterns. Neil Strauss noticed that women have an almost supernatural ability to detect subtle changes in male behavior, and when jealousy is active, this ability intensifies dramatically. She'll start noticing things that previously went unnoticed. If you normally respond to her messages in 5 minutes, and today you took 20, she registers it. If your tone of voice is slightly different when you say good night, she processes it. If you change your routine in any way, no matter how small, her emotional radar detects it immediately. But here's the part most men find frustrating. She won't always confront you directly about these changes. Instead, she'll start asking seemingly innocent questions that are actually emotional investigations. For example, if you came home later than usual, she won't say, "Why were you late?" Instead, she'll ask, "How was your day?" with a particular tone, and then analyze every detail of your response. If you mention you went to the gym but don't mention you also stopped by the supermarket, she'll notice that omission and start filling in the blanks with her imagination. Has it ever happened to you that a woman asks you a question and you feel there's something more behind that question? That's exactly what we're talking about. Her mind is processing information on multiple levels, looking for patterns, inconsistencies, or changes that might indicate something is different. The reason they do this is fascinating from an evolutionary perspective. Women developed this detailed analysis ability as a protection mechanism. In primitive terms, they needed to be able to detect if their partner was diverting emotional or physical resources to another person, because that could threaten their survival and that of their children. The big mistake men make is trying to be perfectly consistent to avoid this analysis. But that's impossible and, frankly, unnatural. We all have different days, different moods, and experiences that affect us in different ways. The correct strategy is to be genuinely transparent when appropriate, but without over-explaining. If you had a stressful day at work and that affects your energy, it's okay to say so. But you don't need to give a detailed report of every moment of your day to prove your innocence. Practice this response. When you feel someone is analyzing your behavior excessively, stay calm and respond with simple honesty. If she asks, "Is everything okay? You seem different," you can say, "I've had a lot on my mind with work, but I'm fine. Thanks for asking." Period. Don't elaborate unless she asks a specific question. And here comes an important revelation. When a woman is in hyper-analytical mode, she's not trying to trap you in a lie. She's trying to understand what's happening, because changes in your behavior make her feel insecure. If you respond with patience and honesty, instead of irritation or defensiveness, you give her the security she needs. Remember, her need to analyze your behavior comes from a place of caring, not control. When you understand this, you can respond from a place of love instead of resistance. Now we come to the fourth manifestation of female jealousy, and this is perhaps the most powerful and least understood. A jealous woman will start creating situations to measure your reaction to other women. Neil Strauss called this the involuntary social experiment. And it's absolutely fascinating to observe. She's not going to confront you directly about her insecurities. Instead, she's going to create scenarios where your response will give her the information she needs. She might invite an especially attractive friend when you're together, just to see how you interact. She might take you to a place where she knows other women who might catch your attention will be. She might even mention other women in casual conversations to observe your body language. Why does she do this? Because she needs empirical data about your level of interest in her versus your interest in other options. She doesn't completely trust words because words can lie, but spontaneous reactions reveal the truth. A perfect example of this is when she says something like, "My friend Laura thinks you're very attractive," while watching you carefully. She's not sharing innocent gossip. She's measuring whether your ego inflates, whether you seem interested in Laura, or whether you keep your attention focused on her. Or maybe she takes you to a party where she knows your ex will be, not to create drama, but to see how you handle that situation. Do you get nervous? Do you change your behavior? Does your energy go toward the ex or remain with her? All this information tells her something about the strength of her position in your life. The most interesting thing about this behavior is that most of the time, she's not completely conscious of what she's doing. It's as if her intuition guides her to create these test situations because she needs that information to feel secure in the relationship. The fatal mistake many men make is failing these tests in ways that confirm exactly her fears. They get nervous when other women are present. They overcompensate by being excessively attentive to her. Or, at the other extreme, they act as if other women don't exist, which feels forced and inauthentic. The correct response is to maintain your naturalness. If you're in a social situation, interact normally with everyone, but make sure she feels included and valued. If she mentions that another woman finds you attractive, you can acknowledge it with a simple, "That's kind of her," and then direct your attention back to her. Here's a powerful mantra for these situations. I am the same man in all contexts. You don't change your personality, your energy, or your behavior based on who's present. This consistency is what builds real trust. Do you know what's most attractive to a woman in these situations? When you demonstrate that, although you can interact with anyone, you choose to focus your romantic energy on her. That conscious choice is much more powerful than forced exclusivity. And here comes something counterintuitive. When you pass these tests with grace, her need to create more tests diminishes. Because you've shown her that you're reliable under pressure, that your interest in her is genuine, and that she doesn't need to compete for your attention. Remember this: these tests aren't traps. They're opportunities to demonstrate your character and strengthen the trust between you. The fifth and final manifestation of female jealousy is perhaps the most intense and transformative. A jealous woman will eventually reach a point where she needs a deep emotional conversation with you, but she'll do it in a way that might completely surprise you. Neil Strauss observed that this moment is crucial because it determines whether the relationship strengthens or fractures. After all the tests, analysis, competition, and social experiments, she'll reach a point where her emotional system needs resolution. But here's the fascinating part. She's not going to say, "I'm jealous and we need to talk about it." Instead, she'll create an emotional situation where you have to demonstrate your commitment in a tangible way. This can manifest as a seemingly unrelated crisis. She might have a terrible day and need your support. She might face an important decision and want your opinion. She might even create drama about something completely different. But all of this is her way of saying, "I need to know if you're really here for me when things get difficult." Has it ever happened to you that a woman suddenly becomes very emotional about something that doesn't seem that important? You're probably seeing this dynamic in action. She's not being irrational. She's using that situation as a proxy to measure your level of emotional commitment to her. The key here is to understand that she doesn't need you to solve her problem. She needs you to be present, to listen, and to demonstrate that her emotional well-being is important to you. It's her way of verifying if you have the emotional capacity to be a real partner during difficult moments. For example, she might call you crying because she had a fight with her boss, and although the work problem is real, her true need is to confirm that she can count on you when she feels vulnerable. Or she might stress excessively about a relatively minor decision because she wants to see if you're going to get involved in her life in a supportive way. The biggest mistake men make at this point is trying to fix the situation logically or minimize her emotions. They tell her things like, "It's not that big a deal," or "Just ignore your boss." But that completely misses the point of what's really happening. What she needs to hear is emotional validation. She needs to know that you understand she feels overwhelmed, that you respect her emotions, and that you're willing to be present during her difficult moments. This gives her the emotional security she was looking for through all those jealous behaviors. Practice this response. When someone comes to you with an emotional crisis, your first response should be, "That must be really difficult for you. Tell me more about how you feel. Don't try to fix anything yet. Just listen and validate." Here comes the most powerful part. When a woman feels she can be completely vulnerable with you and that you're going to be there for her, her need for jealous behaviors disappears almost completely, because now she has the emotional evidence she needed. She knows you're not just physically present, but emotionally available. And here's the deep truth that Neil Strauss understood. Jealousy is never really about other people. It's about the fear of not being important enough to you. When you consistently demonstrate that she is important to you, especially during her vulnerable moments, you solve the root of the problem. Want to know the final secret? A woman who feels emotionally secure with you becomes your greatest advocate. Instead of competing for your attention, she starts attracting more attention to you. Instead of testing you, she starts celebrating you. Jealousy transforms into pride, and that transformation is magical. If you want to take these strategies to the next level, subscribe to this channel because I regularly share advanced attraction psychology techniques that can completely transform your relationships. Now, after understanding these 5 behavioral patterns, you need to understand the most important truth of all. Female jealousy is not your enemy. It's valuable information about what she needs to feel secure and valued in the relationship. When a woman exhibits jealous behaviors, she's communicating something essential to you. I need to know that I'm important to you, that you choose to be with me, and that I can count on you emotionally. The problem is that most men interpret these behaviors as attacks or attempts at control, when in reality, they're requests for emotional security. Neil Strauss discovered that the most successful men in relationships aren't those who avoid jealousy completely, but those who know how to respond to it in a way that strengthens the connection. Because here's the truth, a woman who never feels jealous probably isn't emotionally invested enough in the relationship. Jealousy, in the right doses, is an indicator of passion, of caring, of emotional investment. The goal isn't to eliminate it, but to navigate through it in a way that builds trust and deeper intimacy. Think of jealousy as her emotional alarm system. When it activates, it doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. It means something in the environment has activated her need for reassurance. Your job isn't to deactivate the alarm system. Your job is to provide the reassurance she needs in an authentic and sustainable way. Remember all those tests, analysis, competition, social experiments, and emotional crises we described? Each one of them is an opportunity to demonstrate your character, your consistency, your emotional intelligence, and your commitment. When you respond well, you don't just calm her jealousy, you build a stronger foundation for the relationship. But here comes the part that can change everything for you. When you understand these patterns, you can also recognize them in yourself. Because the truth is, we all experience jealousy from time to time, and we all have our ways of seeking reassurance in relationships. The difference between relationships that thrive and those that are destroyed isn't in the absence of jealousy, but in how both people handle these feelings when they arise. Successful couples learn to communicate their emotional security needs in direct and constructive ways, instead of through indirect psychological games. So, how can you apply all this in your real life? First, start observing these patterns without judging them. When you notice someone is exhibiting jealous behaviors, ask yourself, what does this person need to feel more secure? Instead of, why are they acting this way? Second, practice responding from a place of understanding instead of defensiveness. Remember that their behaviors aren't personal attacks against you, they're requests for deeper connection. Third, be proactive in providing emotional reassurance. Don't wait for her to exhibit jealous behaviors to show your appreciation. Regularly celebrate what you value about her, include her in your life in meaningful ways, and be emotionally available during moments that matter. And finally, maintain your own integrity and authenticity throughout the process. Providing reassurance doesn't mean sacrificing your individuality or walking on eggshells. It means being consistently genuine, caring, and trustworthy. The truth is that when you really understand and respond well to female jealousy, you don't just improve that specific relationship. You develop emotional intelligence that makes you more attractive, more reliable, and more successful in all your interactions with women. Because women can sense when a man understands female psychology without trying to manipulate it. They can sense when someone is emotionally intelligent, when someone can provide security without being possessive, when someone can be strong without being insensitive. And those qualities, emotional intelligence, understanding, compassionate strength, are exactly what makes a man irresistible in the long term. So here's my challenge for you. Next time you encounter jealous behavior, whether from a partner, a friend, or any woman in your life, respond from a place of curiosity and compassion instead of frustration or defensiveness. See what happens. Observe how the dynamic changes when you respond to the need behind the behavior instead of just the behavior itself. If this video resonated with you, if you feel like you now have a deeper understanding of how female psychology works, I want you to write in the comments, "I choose to understand instead of judge." I want to see how many of you are ready for this level of emotional maturity in your relationships. And if you really want to master these skills, subscribe to this channel and activate notifications, because I regularly publish content that goes even deeper into the psychology of attraction, communication, and building relationships that actually last. Don't miss the next revelations that are going to completely transform your success with women. Remember, jealousy isn't the enemy of great relationships. It's the raw material from which great relationships are built, when you know how to work with them instead of against them. And now you know exactly how to do that.